This is Artemis Mission Control. We are now 1 day, 9 hours, and 30 minutes into the first crewed flight test of the Orion spacecraft. NASA astronauts Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Cook, and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen are now over 60,000 miles away from Earth and 189,000 miles away from the Moon. At their closest approach during this mission, they will be 4,010 statute miles away from the Moon and will break a record for the farthest distance from the Earth that any human being has ever traveled at 252,021 statute miles away from Earth. This will beat the previous Apollo 13 record by 3,366 statute miles. We are counting down to lunar flyby here in Mission Control Houston. Now 3 days, 14 hours, and 55 minutes away from lunar flyby when the crew will fly behind the Moon. To hear a little more about the goals and objectives during the flyby, let's check this video out.
I cannot wait to hear their voices when they get to the far side of the Moon and I can hear them talk about seeing the Moon out their window. I try to imagine it now and I tear up thinking about it. Ooh, now I gotta hold on a second. We have human eyeballs connected to wonderfully smart brains our astronaut friends have. They are going to be able to observe the Moon in multiple different ways. They can use their eyes, they'll look through their camera and snap pictures, and just looking out the window getting that human experience. But during Apollo, the astronauts were so much closer to the lunar surface. Our astronauts are going to be doing a flyby at a higher altitude, so they're going to be able to see the whole Moon as a lunar disk on the lunar far side. That's a brand new, unique perspective that humans haven't been able to look at before. We are doing a lot of lunar geography training with them. They have study sessions and quizzes they can do that are assigned to them. You know, even if you're an astronaut, you still get homework. We actually get in the mock-up. In that enclosed physical space, we have to think through the hardware that they have, the cameras, the computers, their microphones to make these observations. There's 4 windows up front. Through one of those windows, one of our astronauts will be using a Nikon D5 camera with an 80 to 400 millimeter lens, so something that allows them to zoom in really far and actually take more detailed observations of the surface. It's almost like looking through a pair of binoculars as well. It's just like being a geologist out in the field. They're telling us what they're seeing, looking for colors, textures, different morphologies, and comparing the region that we're having them look at to the regions that are around them. We have a science team that is planning the targets that are going to be observed, putting them all on the timeline of how they're going to be observed, and then taking the first look at the data when it comes down. The Apollo astronauts were only on the Moon for 300 hours total, and they only went to the equator. That's like going to places that were safer landing sites, and they only saw so little, 300 hours total. And so we have so much more to explore and so much more to learn, and we are the beginning of the next generation that gets to start being a part of these discoveries.
And that's a look ahead at what we can expect to see when the crew does complete the lunar flyby. Now 3 days, 14 hours, 53 minutes from that lunar flyby. This will be the first crewed lunar flyby in over 50 years. NASA's Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen will fly around the far side of the moon, proving the technology needed for long-term presence in future Mars exploration. At this time, the crew of Orion is currently in their sleep period, but you're looking at a live view inside Mission Control Houston, which is nothing but asleep. Continues to be filled with hustle and bustle as the team on the ground supports the Orion spacecraft, even though the crew is asleep. This Orbit 2 team is being led by NASA Flight Director Paul Kanya, and you are going to start seeing some folks trickle in to the White Flight Control Room as we are nearing our handover period for Orbit 3. You're looking at the main engine on the European Service Module, the Orbital Maneuvering System, which was responsible for the translunar injection. That 5-minute, 50-second burn, placing Orion on a trajectory or path toward the moon. TLI also serves as the deorbit burn for the Orion spacecraft. Following lunar flyby, Orion will make its journey back to Earth, where it will splash down off the coast of California. This is Artemis Mission Control. We are 1 day, 9 hours, and 40 minutes into the first crewed test flight of the Orion spacecraft with 4 human beings on board. We do have our flight day highlights ready for you, so let's take a look back at what Flight Day 2 has entailed.
And Integrity Houston, we do have you on video for the 4K encoder checkout.
That is great news. Stand by for audio checks with the wireless mic.
Copy.
6 hours and 10 minutes since liftoff.
Amy, I just did audio with the wireless mic. Did you copy?
And we copy good audio on the handheld mic.
That is great news. We're ready to call 4K encoder checkout complete if you are.
We concur. 4K checkout complete, and whenever you're ready, I have some words about S-band string swap that we're interested in having you all perform. And it is great to see you all wave 4 smiling voices, and we are really enjoying seeing you up there.
Not as much as we're enjoying being here.
That is true.
This view on your screen coming from Orion, looking back at all of us on Earth. This is coming from a camera mounted on one of the spacecraft's solar array wings. Just a little crescent Earth. Now 6 hours and 12 minutes since launch. The first flight of humans aboard Orion.
Houston, Integrity on 1 for fan speed / cabin temperature.
Houston's listening.
Amy, is it possible to lower the cabin fan speed a bit? There's a lot of airflow in here, and if that is not possible, can we increase the temperature?
Copy, Reed. We understand the request, and we are discussing how to implement. We'll follow up.
Yeah, sounds good. No urgency there, but just know that will be our desire down the road.
Copy.
Now that the crew is awake, they are going to step into a brief post-sleep period, and then they will begin preparing for the perigee raise burn, or PRB burn. That burn is scheduled to take place in just under an hour from now, about 59 minutes until that burn ignition start.
Houston, Integrity, good morning. We are with you for PRB ops.
And Integrity and Christina, good morning to y'all as well. Things are progressing well with PRB ops. We can do a quick tag up here shortly once we get our story ready.
And this is Mission Control Houston. You just heard a little bit of communication there on the Orion to Earth loop, and that is the voice link between the ground and the Orion spacecraft. So that was NASA astronaut Christina Cook, who is one of the mission specialists aboard the Orion spacecraft. Again, there are 4 crew members currently living and working on the Orion spacecraft as part of the Artemis 2 mission. So Christina was speaking directly with the team here in Mission Control Houston, specifically the CAPCOM or capsule communicator, and that flight control position serves as the direct voice link between the crew and the ground.
Houston, Integrity for cabin temps.
Hey, go ahead, Christina.
Yes, it is very cold in the cabin. Any chance you can make it warmer or reduce the cabin fan speed a bit more so the ventilation is not blowing as hard?
Yeah, Yeah, Christina, understand. While y'all were asleep, we did turn one of our knobs that we have, and that was the rad loop set points. And we saw a very small increase in the temperature. And so we're going to take a look at some of these shell heaters, and we'll let you know when we start putting some of that in work, and we can see if that affects the temperature in a positive way.
Our next check with you is for your go, no-go confirmation.
And Christina, Houston is go for the burn.
Integrity copies.
Integrity Houston, the solar arrays are in position for the burn.
Integrity copies.
And this is Mission Control Houston. We are about 1 minute out from the perigee raise burn. That burn expected to last about a minute. The burn will adjust Orion's perigee, or the lowest point of its orbit, into the correct orbital geometry to set it up for its translunar injection, or TLI burn. And that perigee raise burn is now underway. And there on your screen, you can see the 8 Pulse-X engines on the Orion spacecraft. Now, this is a visualization of the Orion spacecraft, as we don't currently have live views from the spacecraft itself, but this uses the data and telemetry from the spacecraft. Again, this perigee raise burn expected to last about a minute. Currently, everything is proceeding as planned. And we do have confirmation that that burn is complete. It was a good burn.
We're tracking a good burn.
And we see the same, and with a bonus trim burn.
And there on your screen, you are seeing a live view of the Orion spacecraft from one of its solar array wing cameras, and you can also see another one of the solar array wings on the bottom right hand of your screen from the Orion spacecraft. Again, this live view comes following that perigee raise burn.
Work there. We really appreciate it. It's been a good first. Well, it's been 2 orbits of Earth, I guess, and this one's just got a 38,000 mile apogee. We're going to pick up in 26-1-100 pre-sleep checklist, and then we're going to dim the cabin down and get some rest. Thanks for your support.
Yes, great PRB day. Excellent flight day 1, y'all. Get some good rest, and we'll be in touch in a couple hours.
You as well. Good night, Earth.
Good morning, Artemis 2 crew. While you're soaring beyond Earth, we're sending a little piece of home your way. Here are some messages from your NASA team to brighten your flight day.
From your friends in the R3 Flight Systems branch, we are go for exercise.
Godspeed, Artemis 2. Let's go fly from the Orion Human Engineering team. Woo!
Wishing you an excellent mission around the moon from the Huntsville Operations Support Center's Systems Engineering team. Go Artemis!
From the Marshall Space Flight Center Earth Science Branch to the crew of Artemis 2.
We wish you success. Bring back some perspective.
We just wanted to wish you a safe trip to the moon from your JSD SWAT team.
From the Wallops Island Radar 5 crew, go Artemis. Godspeed.
Good luck from your Orion mission planning team.
IMAP team wishes you a safe journey.
Go Artemis 2!
From all of us at NASA's Launch Services Program,
we're so proud to support the journey to the moon.
Go Artemis!
Houston Integrity, we are ready to go, and that was awesome. Thank you for all of those messages.
You are very welcome.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Artemis Flight Control Room here at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. I'm NASA PAO Leah Cheshire Mustachio, your Orbit 1 commentator, ready to take you through a very busy day for the crew, namely with the translunar injection burn this afternoon. That is scheduled for 6:49 p.m. Central Time, expecting a 5-minute and 49-second burn on the OMS engine. On the left, the data visualization you're seeing is ARROW, the Artemis Real-Time Orbit website. If you look closely, you can see we are now under 10,000 miles away from Earth. That will continue to decrease until we get to 115 statute miles above our home planet. That'll be the closest the crew is to the planet until they return for their splashdown on flight day 10.
Integrity. Houston has completed the poll for TLI. When the engine ignites, you embark on humanity's lunar homecoming arc and set the course to return Integrity and her crew safely home. Houston is go for TLI.
Integrity copies, and your Integrity crew is go for TLI. With this burn to the moon, we do not leave Earth, we choose it.
Mission control is go. The crew is go. You're getting a live view from Orion now of Earth. Ten seconds until translunar injection burn start.
Integrity, good engine, good control.
Show the same. Feels great up here.
At MET, mission elapsed time of 1 day, 1 hour, and 14 minutes into the Artemis 2 mission. As Orion was flying 115 statute miles above Earth and 247,600 miles away from the moon, we have the start of the translunar injection burn that will send the crew around the moon, the first humans to do so in over 50 years. Velocity of the spacecraft ticking up, now over 23,900 miles per hour. 2 minutes into this 5-minute and 50-second burn. Continuing to get good calls here in Mission Control Houston from all flight controllers.
Integrity, we copy the enabled caution, no crew action.
Okay, Integrity copies.
Over 3 minutes now into the translunar injection burn. These live views coming from Orion as it looks back on Earth, leaving high Earth orbit and beginning its journey to the moon. We are now 230 miles above Earth, 246,500 miles away from the moon. We have 1 minute left in the translunar injection burn. Everything continuing to look good. We have less than 20 seconds left of this burn. This is the final major burn for the mission because this also serves as our deorbit burn.
Integrity looks like a good burn. We're confirming.
Integrity copies.
Confirmation from teams here on the ground to the Artemis 2 crew aboard Orion. We have translunar injection burn cutoff and early reports that it was a very good burn. Orion now 520 miles away from Earth. Just 5 minutes ago, we were only 115 miles above Earth's surface. That distance will continue to increase as we are now on a trajectory to fly around the moon for the first time in over 50 years. Live views from the Orion spacecraft as it looks back on Earth following completion of the translunar injection burn. The burn that commits us to flying around the moon. It also commits us to a return to our home planet on Flight Day 10 and a splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. But for now, these views of Earth as Orion starts its journey.
Houston Integrity, we just wanted to share a little bit of the sentiment up here as we came around the planet, and we're zooming over just 100 nautical miles above it if you got a moment.
Please, Jeremy, we are all ears.
Well, with that successful TLI, the crew's feeling pretty good up here on our way to the moon, and we just wanted to communicate to everyone around the planet who's worked to make Artemis possible that we firmly felt the power of your perseverance during every second of that burn. Humanity has once again shown what we are capable of, and it's your hopes for the future that carry us now on this journey around the moon.
Hugs there at the Capcom console from NASA astronaut and Capcom, or capsule communicator, Chris Birch, with Artemis II backup and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jenny Gibbons. This is a live view from the Orion capsule looking back on Earth, our home planet. We are now 18,500 miles away from Earth. When we conducted that translunar injection burn coming up on about 2 hours ago, we were just 115 miles above our planet. Obviously, that has increased exponentially as we are now on the journey to the moon and back home. Currently, Orion is 223,000 miles away from the moon. This is Artemis Mission Control, now MET, or mission elapsed time, 1 day, 3 hours, and 10 minutes into the Artemis II mission, the first flight of humans around the moon in over 50 years. And we are going to the moon. After a successful translunar injection burn today, we are now over 19,500 miles away from Earth and growing closer to our lunar neighbor, now 222,000 miles away from the moon. The view on the left side of your screen is from Orion, a live view looking back at our home planet, that small dot. And down in the bottom right-hand screen, you can see Capcom Chris Birch wrapping up her Orbit 1 shift today, as well as Flight Director Jeff Radigan. They've been leading the teams throughout Orbit 1 and the translunar injection burn.
Integrity Houston, you ready for the event?
Houston Integrity, we are ready for the event.
ABC News, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call Integrity for a voice check.
Integrity, this is Gio Benitez at ABC News. How do you hear me?
Outstanding. We have you loud and clear. How about us?
I hear you loud and clear, and I truly cannot believe it. You are quite literally on the way to the moon right now and still speaking with us. Tell me, how do you feel? What's going through your mind? I mean, this must be so incredible because have you allowed the weight of the moment to really fit in here? Have you allowed that to happen?
Well, first and foremost, we all wanted to give a shout out to our families first because we are pretty far from Earth and we have not gotten to say hi to them yet. But there was a moment about an hour ago where Mission Control Houston reoriented our spacecraft as the sun was setting behind the Earth. And I don't know what we all expected to see in that moment, but you could see the entire globe from pole to pole. You could see Africa, Europe, and if you looked really close, you could see the northern lights. It was the most spectacular moment, and it paused all four of us in our tracks.
Yeah, well, you are making history. Reed Wiseman, Christina Koch, Jeremy Hansen, Victor Glover. Congratulations to all of you. America, the world is with you. We are watching every moment of this journey, and we will cheer you when you get back and along the way. Thank you for joining us. Best of luck to you, and safe travels.
And that was an overview of this flight day 2. We are now 1 day, 10 hours on the dot into the first crewed test flight of the Orion spacecraft. This is Artemis Mission Control. We are 1 day, 10 hours, and 6 minutes into the first crewed flight of the Orion spacecraft, who are on their way to the moon. The Orion spacecraft is now less than 200,000 miles to the moon, approaching 186,800 miles to the moon, now 63,950 miles away from the Earth, traveling at a speed of 5,274 miles per hour. Again, this is the first crewed flight test of the Orion spacecraft and the first time that humanity is heading back to the moon in over 50 years. Inside the Orion spacecraft, named Integrity, are NASA astronauts Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Koch, as well as Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen. We are counting down to lunar flyby, now 3 days, 14 hours, and 20 minutes away from flying behind the moon, where the crew will have the opportunity to take imagery and video of areas of the lunar surface that have never before been seen by human eyes. Additionally, during this flight, the crew will break the distance record for a human being to ever be away from the Earth. That maximum distance will be 252,021 statute miles, breaking the Apollo 13 distance record by 3,366 statute miles. You're looking at a visualization of the Orion spacecraft as it continues its journey to the moon, as well as a view inside the White Flight Control Room here at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. This Orbit 2 team is being led by Flight Director Paul Kanya. We will soon conduct a handover to the Orbit 3 team. You can see some of those folks beginning to come on console and step through procedures. During a handover, the individual on the console just prepares a summary to the oncoming member to provide any updates and status on what happened during their shift. The Orbit 3 flight director this morning will be NASA Flight Director Rick Henfling. And here's a view of the entire flight control team that has been supporting during this Orbit 2 shift. Orion is now 186,755 miles away from the moon and over 64,000 miles away from Earth. Following the translunar injection burn, which was 5 minutes and 50 seconds long, Orion is well on its way to the moon. That translunar injection burn also serves as the deorbit burn. And we're continuing to bring you around-the-clock coverage of the first crewed flight test of Orion to the moon. You're now looking at a view from the Orion spacecraft looking at the moon. The Orion spacecraft now less than 200,000 miles away from the moon, following that translunar injection burn, lasted 5 minutes 50 seconds, propelling the crew on a trajectory to the moon and back. At this time, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Nilofer Ramji, to continue live mission operations coverage of the Orion spacecraft carrying NASA astronauts Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen to the moon. For me, for now, this is Mission Control Houston.
Good morning from Mission Control Houston inside the Artemis Flight Control Room here at the Johnson Space Center. We are at a mission elapsed time of 1 day, 10 hours, and 42 minutes and counting of the Artemis 2 mission. I'm Nila Faramji with NASA Communications. The Orbit 3 team of flight controllers has recently come on console and have completed their handover, with the Orbit 2 team who are completing their shift. We will take a look back on what took place on Flight Day 1 with our Flight Day highlights.
And Integrity Houston, we do have you on video for the 4K encoder checkout.
That is great news. Stand by for audio checks with the wireless mic.
Copy.
6 hours and 10 minutes since liftoff.
Amy, I just did audio with the wireless mic. Did you copy?
You have good audio.
And we copy good audio on the handheld mic.
That is great news. We're ready to call 4K encoder checkout complete if you are.
We concur. 4K checkout complete, and whenever you're ready, I have some words about S-band string swap that we're interested in having you all perform. And it's great to see you all wave, 4 smiling voices, and we are really enjoying seeing you up there.
Not as much as we're enjoying being here.
That is true.
This view on your screen coming from Orion, looking back at all of us on Earth. This is coming from a camera mounted on one of the spacecraft's solar array wings. Just a little crescent Earth. Now 6 hours and 12 minutes since launch. The first flight of humans aboard Orion.
Houston, integrity on 1 for fan speed / cabin temperature.
Houston's listening.
Amy, is it possible to lower the cabin fan speed a bit? There's a lot of airflow in here, and if that is not possible, can we increase the temperature?
Copy, Reed. We understand the request, and we are discussing how to implement. We'll follow up.
Yeah, sounds good. No urgency there, but just know that will be our desire down the road.
Copy.
Now that the crew is awake, they are going to step into a brief post-sleep period, and then they will begin preparing for the perigee raise burn, or PRB burn. That burn is scheduled to take place in just under an hour from now, about 59 minutes until that burn ignition start.
Houston, integrity, good morning. We are with you for PRB ops.
And Integrity and Christina, good morning to y'all as well. Things are progressing well with PRB ops. We can do a quick tag up here shortly once we get our story ready.
And this is Mission Control Houston. You just heard a little bit of communication there on the Orion to Earth loop, and that is the voice link between the ground and the Orion spacecraft. So that was NASA astronaut Christina Cook, who is one of the mission specialists aboard the Orion spacecraft. Again, there are 4 crew members currently living and working on the Orion spacecraft as part of the Artemis 2 mission. So Christina was speaking directly with the team here in Mission Control Houston, specifically the CAPCOM or capsule communicator, and that flight control position serves as the direct voice link between the crew and the ground.
Houston, integrity for cabin temps.
Hey, go ahead, Christina.
Yes, it is very cold in the cabin. Any chance you can make it warmer or reduce the cabin fan speed a bit more so the ventilation is not blowing as hard.
Yeah, Christina, understand. While y'all were asleep, we did turn one of our knobs that we have, and that was the rad loop set points. And we saw a very small increase in the temperature. And so we're going to take a look at some of these shell heaters, and we'll let you know when we start putting some of that in work, and we can see if that affects the temperature in a positive way.
Our next check with you is for your go, no-go confirmation.
And Christina, Houston is go for the burn.
Integrity copies.
Integrity Houston, the